What in the world is happening to the sports card market, guys? It is going bonkers. All right, in this video, we are going to not do a mail day. We're not going to go over some new slabs. We're going to talk about what is happening right now in the sports card market and why it is absolutely going bonkers right now. So it is March 2020, and for those of you who have not followed sports cards, right now sports cards are the hottest non-traditional investment, and one of the reasons why is because of this guy, Gary Vaynerchuk. So for those of you who do not know Gary Vaynerchuk, he is a mega influencer. Whenever you think of modern entrepreneur and you look in modern entrepreneurs through YouTube, Gary's name is the one that you think of. So Gary said way back in April of 2019 on the Rich Eisen show, as shown here in the video, that sports cards are going to be a thing. They are a cultural phenomenon. And this is a thought that I've had for the longest time, even before the StockX founder gave a TED Talk where he said sports cards are dead. Sports cards have never been dead. They have always been and had a true marketplace. However, there has been a Gary Vaynerchuk effect over the past year. And let me describe to you why that's important and how I don't necessarily believe that his influence is an attempt to actually prop up his own investment. So let me touch on that very, very quickly. So first, Gary Vaynerchuk is a multi-millionaire. He does not necessarily need to go onto his platform and pump up a specific sports card and say, this is a card that's trading at $200 in 3 to 5 years. I think it's going to be $500 to $1,000. He doesn't need to do that. He already makes enough money to do that. What we're actually seeing in today's market, though, is that by him actually communicating those expectations and actually listing specific cards that he would invest in, his followers are actually flocking to eBay, and that's actually indirectly propping up the market, which is very, very bizarre. So my take on this is Gary actually is describing what is happening in the marketplace. He is describing what is actually occurring in the marketplace and what he predicts to actually happen based on predictions that I've seen and based on trends. His main philosophy behind this is that sneakerheads are pouring over into the sports card market. That's 100% true. And the main issue with sneakers is inventory and being able to flip inventory. Being able to carry around 6, 7, 20, 30, 50 pairs of shoes is very labor intensive, but it's also very difficult to acquire that inventory and flip it. However, with sports cards, I can store 3,000 sports cards in a monster box and it be something that I can carry with 2 hands. And those 3,000 sports cards can have a potential ROI of each individual card of, I don't know, 50, 100, 200, 500, 1,000%, depending on how I select and how I pick the market. So indirectly, by communicating these tweets and really focusing on cards like 2017 Jason Tatum Prisms, 2018 Topps Update Ronald Acuna Jr., Juan Soto, Gleyber Torres cards, way back a year ago whenever he was focusing on Giannis Prism 10s whenever they're in the 400 to 500 range. Those cards now that they have been hoarded and really been communicated to the masses, we're talking about Giannis Prism 10s now selling for $2,500 a piece. Whenever in December this card was a $600 to $700 card on a PSA 10. We're talking about LeBron James 2003, 2004 Topps Chrome rookies that a year ago were trading at $1,200 a piece. Actually, maybe even a couple months ago they were $1,200 a piece. Now they are in the $7,000 to $8,000 price range. So Gary again has focused on these cards, even something even more obscure or even more insane. So focusing on Luca Dhansak. So Luca had a very big hot streak, but again he dipped a little bit. But his Prism PSA 10 rookie, as of 2 to 3 weeks ago, was trading at around 250 to 270, very, very consistently. However, that's now a $600 to $700 card in PSA 10 form. His PSA 10 Donruss Optic or Panini Donruss Optic rookies, those were around $150 a couple weeks ago. Now, I thought that those were personally extremely undervalued, just given how condition sensitive they are. However, that card now is in the $300 range. So what's interesting about this, though, is these mass cards that are really the the cards that are going to be traded in the highest volumes because they're base cards, those are the ones that are seeing the price appreciation, tremendous price appreciation. However, the parallels and the very high-end cards and or rookies that aren't necessarily from these flagship brands, they aren't necessarily seeing that price appreciation. So it is creating unbelievable chaos in the market. And a lot of collectors or flippers are really starting to question, you know, do I ride this bandwagon and see how long it goes? Or do I make comparisons and historical comparisons such that, you know, a Prism 10 rookie of this player that trades at this price, there's a ratio that you can build in that means that this other rookie in PSA 10 form is going to sell at this price. So historical precedents are trying to be applied during this marketplace, and in my honest, humble opinion, you have to completely throw those out the window because the amount of money that is coming into this marketplace and the amount of focus that and attention that this market is now getting based on identifying a few key cards, it's unbelievable. I mean, he actually tweeted about 2017 Topps Update US 50 Cody Bellinger rookies, the PSA 10s. I haven't looked at eBay, but I know that they weren't selling for what they are now. I would guess that during the offseason, this was a card that was trading at $80 to $100, if that. I mean, this card is now selling for $270 to $300. I mean, one of the last ones I looked at a couple days ago was at $279. I think that it's what it sold at. And these things are selling continuously. So I'm going to move into another part of this analysis and really see if I can predict whether or not this is a trend that is going to hold fast, or if this is going to be something that is very temporary and there's going to be a massive contraction. There's a lot of variables that come into play here, and obviously I can't predict the future, and I don't really advise anyone to take anything that I say with you know, as gospel. However, these are my opinions, and this is sort of how I'm going to be preparing for this market. So with this market moving forward, there's a lot of things that this market has never seen before. We've never seen a sports card market become mainstream in a modern social media way, really propelled by an influencer, which is, in my opinion, really, really cool.
America needs to have a better conversation.
So my prediction actually is I think that Gary has elevated the sports card market in such a way that it is, everyone now sees that this is a viable market. The trends were already there. It's almost like if you look at the Dow Jones Industrial Average, go to Google, type in Dow Jones Industrial Average, look at the price trending from its inception of the Dow Jones all the way up until 2001 or around the 90s when we had the dot-com bubble, and then the explosion of the Dow Jones after that. So the Dow Jones has always trended upwards. It's always, you know, for the most part, outpaced consumer price inflation, CPI. It's always been something that has been viable and upticking. However, for a variety of reasons, gasoline was poured on that market. You can describe gasoline however you would like to describe it, but for whatever reason, the market is now on fire in terms of the stock market. Now, I won't touch the coronavirus issues that are taking place in the market right now, but pre-coronavirus, the market has been absolutely on fire. The same trends, in my opinion, have also occurred within the sports card market. Now, granted, the sports card market is viable whenever folks have more disposable income. So folks now, during this market, have more disposable income. They're venturing off to real estate. Real estate has ran its course. Not always. There's still deals to be had, but real estate is becoming a non-viable option for the average consumer. It's only an option for the professionals. So people are looking for where is an avenue for me to invest my money and have it pay dividends. Gary is 100% spot on, and this is something that whenever I talk to the average everyday person, they're like, what? You're actually making money buying and selling baseball cards or basketball or football cards? The answer is yes. I mean, every single young individual from 18 to 35 years old plays fantasy sports in some capacity. If they don't play fantasy sports, they watch sports, they
thing to have a
For the
career.
most part, unless you live in
right, Rich? Like what we all don't know
a
yet right now
glass
is the current
box
sound.
or whatever, and
What?
you don't venture out of
Because
that
they
box,
told
for the
Rolling
most
Stone
part,
it was gonna be a fad.
there's for the most part, most people are fans of sports.
Like, I
And
lived
because
in
of
New Jersey
that,
when everybody
there's
said
also a
you were
knowledge
gonna
that
be
comes
MC.
with that,
Like,
a
nobody's gonna
knowledge
listen
where
to
you
that
can
shit.
capitalize
Look at
on certain trends or certain predictions, whether that be via sports gambling or fantasy sports, or even something as tangible as a sports card. Sports cards are analogous to a stock. The average everyday person does not know how to analyze a stock. They do not know the difference between a Google stock, an Amazon stock, a startup stock. They don't know how to read financial reports. They get lost. They don't know what to do. And that's why, for the most part, all they do is contribute to their 401k, and they take advantage of the tax savings, and they let somebody else manage their money, and it rides out and performs however they think that it's going to perform. But for the most part, it is a non-managed asset. The interesting thing about sports cards, and this is what Gary Vee says, and this is 100% true, it's just taken someone with a social media influence to actually say this and articulate it very well, is that everyone has knowledge of sports. You watch sports. It consumes our lives. I went to an NBA game this past week. I'm going to go to an NBA game this week. I'm going to go to an NBA game the week after. I'm investing my hard-earned money to go see sports stars that I actually want to see and that I enjoy watching. And with that, I also have a very deep understanding of basketball in terms of trends. Who is going to win? Who's going to perform well? Who's going to be a main player for the next 10, 15, 20 years? And with that knowledge, and with the knowledge that most everyone else also obtains by watching it, because I'm not some unicorn. I mean, everyone here has knowledge that they can capitalize on. You can now use that and leverage that in the sports card market. So the market has always been trending that this is becoming a much more mainstream, non-traditional investment. However, Gary has poured gasoline on this market. He has brought a lot of attention and hipness, so to speak, to this market. So in my opinion, as a long ramble to get to my final punchline for what I think is actually going to happen in the market, in my opinion, this market is going to stay for at least another 5 years. I don't know what it's going to be after that. However, I do not see the trends that we're seeing. And I don't necessarily mean to say that we're going to see Jason Tatum Prism rookie still selling for $250 to $300. I don't necessarily mean to say that we're going to see Luca Dhansak Prism 10 selling for $700, or Giannis is going to continue to sell for $2,500. But what we are going to continue to see, though, is a general trend of the hot players and the hot rookies, assuming that performance matches that hype, their prices are going to continue to reach astronomical values despite an unbelievable oversaturation of supply. And I say oversaturation with supply because that's not necessarily the case. Obviously, if prices are going up, that means that we have an unbelievable demand for their cards. But based on historical precedents, this is unbelievable in terms of the supply that we are seeing from cards. Again, we're talking about PSA population values of LeBron rookies that are in the thousands versus Prism Luca rookies, which have already hit like 8,000 or 9,000. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to see the number of Zion Prism 10s now having already exceeded what LeBron Topps Chrome rookies are. And there were a ton of LeBron Topps Chrome rookies, mind you, way back in 2003. So, in my opinion, this is going to be something that is going to stay here for a very long time. My advice to you and every listener operating in this environment is throw all historical norms out the window. This is going to be a completely new market with a lot of new money, a lot of very unexperienced money, but with that is going to create buying opportunities. Now, whether or not this is going to continue to cause havoc within the PSA, Beckett, SGC pipeline in terms of turnaround for cards, that's probably going to get worse. However, if you are able to capitalize on gradings and turnaround times and getting cards back quicker, a lot of these new folks are not going to know how to do this. They're not going to know how to grade cards. Gary Vee isn't telling people how to grade cards. Gary Vee is saying buy PSA 10 cards, sit on them, and watch them appreciate, which they are, because he's also talking about them, and that's increasing the demand. However, there's going to be a ton of opportunity in terms of grading cards in the near future. All right, guys, so appreciate this video. This is very quick, long ramble. However, I wanted to get this out there and really touch on what's happening to the marketplace. Again, if you like the video, give it a thumbs up and also subscribe. So we'll be back with another mail day a little bit later on. Thanks, guys.